deadliest and most infallible killer of the Society of Assassins, Curare origin explored. Visualize a character, one who is in literal possession of an inexhaustible amount of knowledge in relation to killer strategies. Next is a brilliant martial artist, and not just anyone, but one that is actually trained to kill. Also, if we are to take things to the next level, no one has ever seen her face. Well, technically nobody except for Terry McGinnis, who had engaged in a fight with her as Batman. May we add here that Terry was truly frightened to death when he managed to catch a glimpse of her before getting kicked right in the face. Wondering who we are talking about? Well, the person in concern is Curare, the deadliest and the most infallible killer of the Society of Assassins. The true identity of this antagonist here still happens to be a mystery, and mind you, no one knows her real name. But it goes without saying that this silent assassin has been more than a challenging threat to Batman. Judging by the Caped Crusader's reaction when he first saw her face, one can easily assume that it is disfigured in some way or the other. Well, in today's video, we are not only going to talk about Curare, but also explore her tragic origin story, her appearances in Batman Beyond animated television series, and what is it that makes her character so deadly. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Curare, tragic origin story explored. Justice League Beyond, Chapter 21, Beyond Origins, Green Lantern Kai-Ro. Co-written by Derek Fridolfs and Dustin Nguyen, the narrative has High Lamas on the lookout for the next Dalai Lama. It has been more than 5 years, but they still have not been able to find their chosen leader. The current search has taken them to the sacred holy lake in central Tibet called Lamo Latso, so as to meditate and look for a vision, or perhaps a voice of a wailing baby. Discovered by a monk, the child was brought to the temple, nestled high in the Himalayas. The High Lama Council elders, upon seeing the boy, take him in and come to a decision to raise him in spite of not being sure if he is the next chosen one. They wish to determine that later through a test. With years passing by, the boy Kai-Ro starts growing up. He is seen living a very contented life at the temple, doing all the chores and relishing the simplicities of life. The young boy is particularly seen to share a rather special bond with one of the female monks there, whom he addresses as sister. However, the duo's views on life differed vastly. While the sister considered the temple as a cage, blamed her parents for leaving her with the monks, and was of the opinion that life beyond the temple would provide her with wealth, Kai-Ro was quite happy with what life offered him and prayed that his sister found peace at the temple just the way he did. Soon came the day of the test. If the chosen one passes it, he would be the reincarnated Dalai Lama that the High Lamas believe him to be. It is a huge gathering, one that's attended by the Buddhists from 3 other monasteries, secular clergies, as well as other monks. While Kai-Ro is made to sit in the front for the test, the sister intervenes and asks the elders why they were not following the old tradition of deciding the chosen one by drawing a name out of the golden urn. The High Lamas have clearly decided to do things a bit differently this time. Therefore, they ask the sister to step back and observe, much to her dismay. Soon, a list of gathered items are placed in front of the young boy. As part of the test, one of the items belonged to the previous Dalai Lama, and if Kai-Ro could identify the right item, he would be seen as the true reincarnation of his predecessor. With Kai-Ro moving his hand closer to the items, a green lantern ring rises by itself and chooses him. The boy is selected to become the new Green Lantern of Sector 2814, while the question remained if he chose the ring, or was it the other way around. All the monks present there were both filled with wonder, as well as scared by the power Kai-Ro was suddenly in possession of. Well, of course, the sister stepped in and attempted to take advantage of the situation by stating that they should be using the urn. But somehow, the urn gets knocked down and shattered. It revealed the sister's name on the sticks. It is quite clear that all of the original sticks were replaced by the sister's names, which is why the sister had been insisting all this while to do things the traditional way and use the urn to identify the chosen one. It was time for the monks to come to a decision, and after witnessing the whole event, they made up their minds to not have elements of great power and the darkness of soul on their sacred grounds. They asked the duo to leave. Well, it was time for both Curaré and the sister to forge new paths. The resentful sister refused to acknowledge Curaré as the chosen one. As for the latter, he expressed his grief that his sister was too dazed and she just could not see past her own ambitions and abhorrence. Before the duo parted ways, the sister renounced Curaré as her brother and vowed to meet him the next time as enemies. Well, it was very clear that the duo headed toward two opposite directions. While Curaré put his faith on the path of light, the sister embraced the path of darkness. The sister was seen undertaking a certain procedure performed by a dark monastery, one that caused her skin to develop a particular blue pigmentation. No points for guessing who the sister is now. It is often assumed that it was this very method that caused Curaré's transformation and had her cover her face for the rest of her life. With Curaré joining the corps, Curaré eventually became a member of the Society of Assassins. Appearances in Batman Beyond animated television series A Touch of Curare, directed by Dan Reba and written by Hilary J. Bader. The 12th episode of Batman Beyond marks the first appearance of the unstoppable assassin Curare, still bragging a current IMDb rating of 8.1. The episode begins with Commissioner Barbara Gordon enjoying a late-night walk inside the Gotham Park with her husband, District Attorney Sam Young, when they suddenly get attacked by a strange woman dressed in white, boasting blue skin and a covered face. Judging by her appearance, she clearly looked like an assassin, and a deadly one, if we may add. Anyway, she starts attacking them with her scimitar, one that is actually sharp enough to cut trees. Barbara does her best to defend herself as well as her husband and starts shooting at her, only to see the mysterious woman deflect the shots easily using her sword. With the intervention of Batman in the scene, Barbara is able to buy herself just enough time to inform the police of the attack. With the police arriving, they start shooting both at Batman as well as the woman. While Barbara tells her men to leave Batman and focus on the woman, the latter easily manages to escape. Later at the Batcave, Terry learns more about the mysterious woman from Bruce, who tells him her name Curare, and even shows him the only photo that the Interpol has of her. As a member of the Society of Assassins, she is deadly, and also in possession of a scimitar that's honed to perfection by lasers. With Terry deciding to look after Barbara in case Curare attacks her again, Bruce tells him that she isn't Curare's target. That's precisely when Barbara arrives at the Batcave and tells them who the main target is, her husband. Of course, Terry is shocked to see the commissioner there and wonders how did she even manage to get inside. Barbara discloses to both of them about how her husband is scheduled to testify at the trial of Fyodor Davik, the international arms dealer. Without the testimony, Davik is a free man, and that's why he has arranged for a hitman for her husband before the deposition. As for Terry, he is further shocked to discover that Barbara was once Batgirl. Before leaving, Barbara tells both of them to stay outside the matters of police. Post-Curaré's first attempt to assassinating Sam Young getting thwarted, she is reproached by the Master Assassin for her failure. The Master gave her a reminder of how she has been taught to expect the unexpected, and no one, for that matter, should make a difference to her, further reminding her the price of failure, which, by the way, happens to be death. She is sent back to complete her task. The next scene shows Sam Young being kept inside a heavily guarded house. Curare makes her move right after she sees Barbara leaving the house. It goes without saying that she is effortlessly able to take out all the men and makes it very easily inside the house, followed by Terry, of course. Post a brief struggle between the duo, Terry is successful in taking off her mask and is shocked to see her face. But Curare kicks him right in his face and makes her way inside the DA's room. Inside, she hurls her scimitar at the DA, and in this case, a dummy, which means the whole thing was a setup. While both of them manage to escape, a Batarang is left behind, disclosing his involvement. Post-discovering the Batarang, Barbara decides to have a word alone with Terry when she tells him that she will arrest him, as well as Bruce, if she finds them involved. Terry questions her regarding her hatred for Bruce. That is when Barbara tells him that she does not hate him, and later, over coffee, she tells him about her past as Batgirl, the fact that she called it off with Dick Grayson just so she could stay behind with Bruce, and that she gave up the life when it dawned upon her that Bruce would always choose his vigilante life over everything else. Well, soon came the night of the trial, and Curare gets to know how Sam is being taken to the court. As for Bruce, he tells Terry about the Society of Assassins' usual procedure of killing their very members who fail to carry out the task given to them. Speaking of Curare, she is the best, one who has never failed the Society. Next, we are shown Sam Young on a train with Barbara. As always, Curare is seen to pursue them. Not only does she manage to overthrow the guards, but also manages to derail the train. This results in Sam Young's train compartment getting separated from the rest and crashing into the side of a building. Barbara and her husband are seen taking refuge inside a meat processing plant, one where they seal themselves in, while Barbara assures her husband that there is a 10-inch thick steel door that's separating them from Curare. She is absolutely shocked to see the assassin easily getting through the door by cutting a circle on it via her scimitar, of course. Curare is just about to strike them when she gets intervened by Batman for the third time in a row. What ensues is a deadly fight with Curare, now throwing daggers at her opponent, as well as attacking him with her sword. With one of her daggers activating the meat grinder, the fight leads them right over it. Curare is about to incapacitate Batman with her sword when Barbara throws a batarang towards her, one that actually knocks her sword and lands it right into the grinder. Curare is ultimately captured by Batman. Terry is later seen talking to Bruce over phone when he gets to know from a news report about Curare's escaping from police custody. While her whereabouts remain unknown, Bruce tells Terry not to worry because she has other concerns to take care of. The episode ends with Curare driving a police car when a sword suddenly stabs right down through the car roof next to her. Final cut. Directed by Butch Lukic and co-written by Hilary J. Bader and Alan Burnett, the 28th episode of Batman Beyond has the unstoppable assassin Curare reappearing. Boasting a current IMDb rating of 7.9, the episode is more like a follow-up post the events of A Touch of Curare. It begins with a private jet making a brief landing at an airport. There seems to be a minor repair to be taken care of, with the audience getting a peek at the passenger of the plane. It's shown to be Devon, also known as Master Assassin, the head of the Society of Assassins. Devon is pretty nervous, and he has every reason to be. Why else would he spending a constant 3 months traveling via his private jet without ever touching down on land? He is seen telling another member of the society, Mutro Botha, to reach out to Batman in order to defeat Curare when the assassin is seen making her way on board the plane and waiting for it to take off. As planned, she attacks the Master Assassin, who is briefly able to dodge her initial attacks. Curare throws a small gas capsule towards him that, upon exploding, releases a certain chemical that sort of wipes his mind clean. Post that, she is seen jumping right out of the plane. Back in Gotham, Mutro Botha, as the last surviving member of the Society of Assassins, encounters Batman and tells him about the Society's standard procedure of killing their members who fail to carry out the task given to them. He is obviously hinting out at Curare, who has been unsuccessful in completing her task, was supposed to be executed, but the assassin ended up reversing the circumstances by hunting down the members one after the other. When he tells Batman that he required his protection, the latter points out that both of them were assassins at the end of the day, and there was no point helping one from the other. That is when Mutro discloses to Batman the real deal. He has implanted a bomb in the city, and only he is capable of deactivating it, but he would not do so if Batman does not defeat Curare. Terry contacts Max, and she is more than happy to help him out. So, with Mutro leaving his hotel room, Max sneaks inside looking for clues. Of course, Batman is highly enraged to hear that Max is inside, while the latter tells him that she has everything under control. We get to see Curare entering Mutro's room. The assassin is seen intensely attacking Max, who runs into the bathroom and locks it. While she hides behind the shower curtains, Curare cuts through the door and slashes right through the curtain. Max lets out a shriek. Batman, who had been keeping an eye on Mutro, leaves him in the middle of the street and goes back to the hotel room, where he is relieved to find Max alive and terrified. She tells him that the assassin backed off as soon as she got a good look at her. Batman tells her to go back home and stay indoors. Meanwhile, Mutro gets ambushed by Curare at a park, and while he is able to dodge her first few attempts, the assassin eventually gets the better of him when she incapacitates him using a gas capsule. Mutro's mind gets wiped clean by the time Batman returns for him. He is able to lay his hands on the timer device that had fallen out of Mutro's hand while he was fighting Curare. Upon seeing that the bomb will detonate in less than 3 hours, Batman reaches out to Max again, but this time at her apartment. While inspecting the remote control, Max in due course is able to figure out the possible location of the bomb, the Gotham Museum of Armaments. Batman is left with no other choice but to let Max come along with him in his Batmobile to aid him in his search for the explosive. The duo reaches the museum, and using a frequency scanner, they are able to figure out to an extent where the bomb is placed. It is at this very moment that Curare reaches the same location and starts attacking Batman. Of course, he tells her about the bomb and how it's going to kill everyone if it explodes, but the assassin simply pays no heed to him. It goes without saying that a heated fight takes place between the duo, amidst which the frequency scanner gets crushed. Max, however, is finally able to locate the bomb, but there's hardly a few seconds left before the bomb goes off. With less than 5 seconds to go, Max, seeing no option, takes a leap of faith and rips off the bomb along with its wires. Luckily, that works. As for Batman, he is finally able to capture Curare, and the latter is taken into custody. Back at her apartment, Terry fixes up Max's wounds, and the latter asks him how is it that he saves the world and not tell anybody about it. Terry smiles at him and calls him his partner. What is it that makes Curare so deadly? Well, for starters, her chosen weapon happens to be a scimitar with a molecular edge. It is laser sharpened to an extent that lets her easily cut through anything for that matter, be it a 10-inch thick steel door, trees, or even statues. Curare is unstoppable with her scimitar. She is also seen to be quite proficient while using dirks and gas capsules. We also just can't disregard her levels of strength, endurance, and agility, jumping off a high-rise straight onto a moving train without hesitation even for once. That's the fearless Curare we are talking about. Her vast knowledge in relation to poison shows when she is seen easily taking down the strongest members of the society, leaving them paralyzed and having their mind wiped completely clean. Besides all these, she is highly skilled in martial art forms, and as mentioned before, she is designed to kill, which is what makes her character so dangerous in the first place. One has every reason to watch out for Curare, who single-handedly wiped out her entire society without uttering a single word, apart from a few grunts here and there, throughout her entire appearance in the comic television series. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.